Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh. Today is Monday, June 22nd. I hope everyone had a great weekend this past weekend and a wonderful Father's Day, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. So in today's video, I am going to be discussing the first and second round of stimulus checks, and I'm also going to be discussing the $4,000 Explore America tax credit. And then I'll also be discussing the EIDL grant where you can earn at least $1,000 in free money. And then I'll be wrapping up this video by answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. But first, if you wouldn't mind liking this video, giving me a big thumbs up, it would be greatly appreciated. In doing so, it just helps push this video out to other people like you and hopefully helping other people like you. In addition to that, leave a comment in the comment section below letting me know whether or not you received your first stimulus payment yet or not. In doing so, it just creates a good dialogue and lets people know that haven't yet received their first stimulus payment that, hey, they're not alone. There are still millions of other people out there that haven't even received their first stimulus payment. All right, so I'm gonna start this video out by discussing the first stimulus check. And you might be wondering, why are we still discussing the first stimulus check? Haven't all of the checks already been sent out? And no, unfortunately, there are still millions of payments that have not been sent out for one reason or another. Now, I will say if you are expecting your check via direct deposit, there are going to be some more checks directly deposited next Wednesday on June 24th. I have seen many people in the comment section on SSI or different Social Security benefits that are receiving payment dates of the 24th. So if you are on Social Security benefits or VA or RRB and you haven't yet received a payment date, I would strongly encourage you to check the payment portal because you may also have a date of the 24th as well. Now, if you are going in and checking, you're still getting that annoying message of payment status not available. Once again, that does not mean that you're not eligible for the check. It just means they have not yet scheduled a delivery date. And we've talked about this, and one thing you could do is try typing your physical street address in all capital letters. Sometimes that can help fix the issue, where then at that point, they will be able to give you a date. But if you're still getting payment status not available, you just have to keep checking and you will definitely eventually receive a date. The IRS is just incredibly slow, and once again, I apologize on their behalf. I wish there was a way we could speed it up, but unfortunately they're slow. And in the meantime, we just have to continue being as patient as possible, but you will definitely eventually receive a date. All right, so now that we got the first stimulus check talk out of the way, we're gonna move on to the second stimulus check. And unfortunately, like I did mention, these are still a long ways away, but they are still worth talking about. At the moment, we're probably looking at late August or early September as far as when we can expect these next stimulus payments. As I did mention before, the Senate is going to be going on their 2-week recess vacation, which I find to be ridiculous. But unfortunately, the Senate has made it very clear they're not going to even be touching the next stimulus bill until they get back from their 2-week recess in late July. So they're going to start looking at the HEROES Act whenever they get back in late July. And if you remember, the HEROES Act is the bill that the House of Representatives passed back on May 15th. And they're not even going to touch it until late July. So they're going to have to make some revisions to this bill, or they'll just have to create an entire new bill, and they'll have until August 10th to do so, because what happens on August 10th? Oh yeah, they go on another vacation. However, on the good news side of things, I am very confident that the Senate will work something out and they will get a bill passed, and probably will be something that will be bipartisan in the end. It's probably not going to be $3 trillion like the House of Representatives passed the HEROES Act, but I'm guessing it's probably going to be more so in the ballpark of $2 to $2.5 trillion. Now, in the beginning, if you remember, Mitch McConnell came out and said, oh, we're not going to spend $3 trillion. That's ridiculous. The most we're going to spend is $1 trillion. And then luckily Trump came out and said, no, we're probably actually going to spend $2 trillion. But, oh yeah, I want $1 trillion to go towards infrastructure. So that kind of raised some red flags. So we're thinking that $1 trillion is going to go towards infrastructure. So that won't leave a whole lot left over for the additional fluff that's going to be in this bill, such as funding for state and local government, payroll tax cuts, funding for small and large businesses, and oh yeah, additional stimulus payments to the Americans. But since Trump did mention that he wanted to spend $1 trillion on infrastructure, it has since came out that this is going to be a completely separate bill. So we're not going to have that $1 trillion factored into the $2 trillion budget. And infrastructure is bipartisan. And what I mean by that is that both the Democrats and the Republicans are both on board with a new infrastructure bill, and this is looking to be somewhere between $1 to $1.5 trillion, and they're actually looking to pass this out sometime, even possibly before July 4th, before the Senate goes on recess. Now, I have been seeing a lot of different comments in the comments section from people that are on Social Security benefits such as SSI or SSDI, and they're wondering if they would be eligible for a second stimulus payment. And it is my guess that most likely they will be. Even Steven Mnuchin came out and made it pretty clear that everyone who is eligible for the $1,200 stimulus payments in the CARES Act would also be eligible in this next bill if it were to pass. So since people on Social Security benefits were eligible for the CARES Act, they should also be eligible for the next bill as well. Now, I've also seen some other comments in the comments section from people who were claimed as dependents and they were over the age of 17. So we're just talking about adults here who may have been claimed by their children as dependents on their tax returns, or college students who were claimed by their parents on their tax returns. And if you remember correctly, unfortunately in the CARES Act, those dependents over the age of 17 were not eligible for stimulus payments. So the people who claimed them as dependents were not receiving the $500 dependent credits, and the people who were claimed as dependents weren't receiving $500 or even $1,200. So they were completely left out, which was ridiculous. But in the HEROES Act that the Democrats recently passed in the House back on May 15th, they actually did include dependents to receive additional $1,200 stimulus payments. So those college students who were left out in the CARES Act, they would receive $1,200 stimulus payments, and adults who were claimed by their children on tax returns would also receive the $1,200 stimulus payments. So if the HEROES Act does pass, then those dependents would receive the $1,200 stimulus payments. However, we pretty much know that the Senate is not going to pass the HEROES Act. So it's my guess the dependents over the age of 17 will probably get left out. And if they are included, it's probably only going to be something like $500 versus like $1,200. Now, some other questions I've been seeing in the comment section as well is how much we can expect this next stimulus payment to be. There's some rumors going around of $2,000 ongoing monthly stimulus payments. And there has been a bill introduced by Kamala Harris and also backed by Bernie Sanders where we would receive $2,000 ongoing stimulus payments. These unfortunately are just rumors. Even though there is a bill out there like that, there really is no true backing for it. And there's pretty much no chance for a bill like that to pass. So if we do receive additional stimulus payments, it will just be one more stimulus payment, most likely of just $1,200. I wish we could do something like an ongoing $2,000 per month, but unfortunately that's just going to be too much. Most likely whenever the next stimulus bill does pass, it'll just be a one-time $1,200 stimulus payment, just like in the CARES Act. All right, so at this point, I just wanted to talk real briefly about the $4,000 Explore America tax credit. And this is Donald Trump's plan to kind of help out those hard-hit industries such as the hospitality industry, airlines, hotels, restaurants, places like that. And it's supposed to help encourage people to do those things such as traveling, going out to restaurants, helping those sectors. And in return, it would also help us out because we would be able to write off up to 50% of those expenses in those areas. So if we went out to restaurants and we spent $2,000 this year going to restaurants, we would be able to write off up to around $1,000 on our tax returns, which would give us a $1,000 tax credit. So like I did say in prior videos, even though this is not official yet, and even though it's kind of questionable even putting this in the bill rather than just adding more money into our stimulus payments, because I believe us, the American people, we should just receive more stimulus payments and let us decide how we want to spend the money. And traveling during a pandemic or after a pandemic is kind of questionable. I'm not sure how many people will actually be going on flights, staying in hotels, doing things like that. Regardless, since the $4,000 Explore America tax credit maybe in the next stimulus bill, I would strongly advise everyone to begin taking photos of their receipts. So if you go to get gas, I would take a photo of your receipt. If you go to a restaurant, take a photo of your receipt. If you do go on vacation, log every single expense because you may be able to write off up to 50% of those expenses, which could save you some money come tax time. Okay, so at this point, I just wanted to talk real briefly about the EIDL grant. And this is free money, guys. So if you have any type of side hustle, no matter how important or how big you think it is, whether it's just selling maybe like part-time on eBay, or maybe you just drive Uber part-time or Lyft part-time or Grubhub, or any of those services, and you were impacted either on a large or a small scale by this pandemic, you could be eligible for a $1,000 grant. So since it is a grant, this would be money that you would not have to pay back. It's free money. So with that said, if you have any type of side hustle, no matter how big or small it is, it doesn't have to be a large scale business that you have here. Once again, you could just be selling on eBay part-time. You could be selling on Poshmark part-time. If you're in question, go ahead and apply for the loan. Just Google EIDL grant. Apply. It takes like 5 minutes. It's very, very simple. Now, like I said, if you do qualify, you would receive $1,000 up to $10,000. It would be $1,000 per employee. So if you have 9 employees, you would receive $9,000 and then an additional $1,000 for yourself. And on the other hand, if you're just a one-man show, if you're a sole proprietor and you do not have any employees, you would be the employee, so you would just receive the $1,000. And once again, this is free money. It's a grant. You do not have to pay it back. So if you have any questions, just apply. You have nothing to lose. All right, so at this point, I just wanted to wrap up this video by answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. And if you have any other comments or questions for me in this video, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I do try to respond to as many comments and questions as I possibly can. And the comments and questions that I'm not able to respond to, I do try to pick some of the best ones to answer in the next video in video form. All right, so the first comment today is from Patricia. Patricia says, I haven't received the first stimulus check. I found out that I was carried as a dependent on a tax return. I'm on SSI and I don't have anything to do with someone carrying me on their tax return. I didn't receive anything from that stimulus check. I need help with my household. I'm on SSI and disabled. Is there anything in the second stimulus package that can help us? All right, Patricia, thank you so much for that comment, and I'm so sorry that you were not eligible for the first stimulus payment. Hopefully in the next stimulus package, you will be eligible. In the HEROES Act, like I did mention before, you would be eligible for an additional $1,200 stimulus payment, but that bill is probably going to be revised, so we really don't know for sure whether or not dependents will be eligible in the next stimulus bill. All right, so the next comment today is from Ronald. Ronald says, I received my first stimulus check for the $1,200, but I did not get the $500 for my daughter, and I did the stuff that I needed to do well before May 5th, and I'm still waiting for that $500. Can you please let me know what goes on with that? Thank you. All right, thank you so much for that comment, Ronald. And unfortunately, the IRS messed up big time with these dependent payouts. So you did everything correct. You did the non-filers tool to claim your dependents before the May 5th deadline. So you did everything correct there, and many other people did that as well. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, the IRS did not include the $500 additional payouts for dependents. And at this point in time, they've already acknowledged their mistake. And right now, all they're saying is that we have to wait all the way until next tax season to claim those credits. So instead of them admitting the mistake and then sending out the payments in additional direct deposits, they're just saying, oh, well, I guess you'll have to wait until next tax season to claim those credits. We're not really going to do anything about it right now. So they're admitting their mistake, but they're not really making right by it. So unfortunately, right now, it looks like we're going to have to wait till next year to file our taxes to claim those credits. All right, so on that very sad note, I am going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you did enjoy the content in this video and you would like to see more videos like it, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It is completely free to do so, and it's a great support to my channel, so I would greatly appreciate it if you did so. And until next time, I'll see you guys, and I hope you have a great day today.